Welcome, everyone, to the global consulting organization FutureCast. This is our multimedia platform for 2030 and beyond, where we share the ideas, inspirations, and ideals that will become the foundation for the future built environment. I'm Amit Egan Datwani, founder and chief consultant of the global consulting organization, and on behalf of my fellow members of the GCO Collective, welcome you to our latest episode of the GCO FutureCast, transforming your personal built environment and realigning your life as systems, structures, and institutions collapse. For some of you that listened to our 2026 forecast, you know that we feel this is a very, very important year. I called it the year of the existential life crisis for a variety of reasons. And I'd recommend you going back to listen to it. It wasn't too long, about 40 minutes. Gives you a little bit of insight as to why I feel this year will be an existential life crisis for possibly many of us. And it'll also give you a sense for why I'm sharing today's message. The ideas that I'm going to share very briefly are around this concept of transforming your personal built environment. I'm going to give you about 7 ideas on how to do so. And then, as you know, I'm a project starter. So I'm going to give you just a few simple thoughts with regards to each of the ideas to hopefully propel you on your journey. So in addition to this year being the year of the existential life crisis, I feel that what we will also see is many of our systems, structures, and institutions begin to collapse. And that can take on a variety of forms for many of us. I've spoken to a good number of people over this past quarter about some of these concepts, and I have seen with some individuals changes within their work structure, meaning jobs being lost, new opportunities being presented, systems and structures within their individual businesses also changing. That could be partnerships or collaborations, for example. Roles in relationship dynamics shifting. You may have long-standing disputes all of a sudden take on tremendous prominence this year. Issues that may have been brushed aside, swept under the rug, and they can no longer be ignored. Sound familiar? All of this, I feel, is taking place to help us to personally align with where we are going in the years 2030 and beyond. So be patient with the process. Definitely pay attention to what's in front of you. Do not ignore it. Do not sweep it under the rug. Deal with it head on and see where it takes you. See if it starts to transform your personal built environment for the better. In the short run, maybe a little bit of short-term pain, but you know the rest of that saying, long-term gain. So give it a little bit of time to play out. But again, only if it feels right to you. This year may also start to feel like the year 2020, a year many of us will probably never forget, a year many of us were given the good fortune of transforming our lives. I know it was an extremely difficult year. It was for me and my family, but there is tremendous good that came from it. I don't have time to get into all that today, but think about who you were as a person in the year 2020, or maybe even in 2019, and think about who you are today. Have you shifted any of your thought patterns, beliefs, perspectives, ideas of who you are, ideas of where your career is going, situations within your family perhaps have changed? Now think about whether or not you would have made some of these changes if it wasn't for such an extreme situation like the pandemic. The universe is extremely intelligent, more intelligent than artificial intelligence, though I know some may want to argue with me on that. Adopt the flow of the universe this year, just like you did in 2020, and see what magic it starts to present to you. In order to do this, I highly recommend developing a process that I like to call monk mode. I used to call it airplane mode, and this was before we had internet on the airplane. I don't really consider airplane mode the type of mode I'm referring to here with monk mode, because you still had that ability to be disturbed. Monk mode is the mode that I recommend to those, and I practice wholeheartedly, as some of you learned in my 2026 FutureCast, the year of the existential life crisis. It's a mode that I practice on a daily basis. And that mode helps me to tap in to my inner guidance system, what I call chat, quote unquote, IGS. I know many of you like to ask Chat GPT for guidance. It used to be asking Google. In the future, it will probably be asking your humanoid friend who's programmed by artificial intelligence, and maybe, and again, I know this is a big topic, is there to replace you. But that humanoid will not replace the magic and the beauty that you have within. I suggested different ways that you can practice this on my 2026 forecast. I don't have time to go into all that today, but the idea is very simple. Spend more time in silence. I highly, highly, highly recommend looking into different forms of meditation. I highly, highly, highly recommend going on a low to no media diet. I highly, highly, highly recommend limiting your use of social media. All of this is being suggested with the thought process of it enabling you to go deeper into your inner guidance to find the answers. We are going to see a tremendous amount of chaos and confusion externally this year and the years to come as we build up to 2030. It's going to be important that we learn to tap in to our inner intelligence. And by doing so, I feel we'll also have the ability to trust that universal intelligence is guiding us and pushing us in the direction of our highest and best use. Just like we do in real estate, where we design buildings to achieve their highest and best use, I would also recommend you doing the same for your personal built environment. Tap in to that inner guidance system to help you during times of chaos, especially as it starts to get more chaotic in the months and years ahead. Now, I feel that all that external frenetic energy will be there in our lives to push us deeper into causing us to awaken to our true life purpose. Many of us, and I've gone into this in detail in previous FutureCasts, I don't have time to go into it in depth today, but many of us feel very fragmented today, being pulled in many different directions, being bombarded with all sorts of information, trying to influence us. Additionally, many of us live fragmented lives where we have one persona at work, one persona at home, and another persona perhaps when you're with your friends or any other types of social groups. That helps to create and worsen this sense of feeling divided within. Some of what we do here at GCO, and will be doing in a more active way in the future, is helping you to create that sense of unity, helping you to craft, develop, and build a unified creative vision for yourself and your life. Perhaps you view the purpose of your business in one way, and then perhaps you participate in nonprofit interests, activities, or hobbies in another way. We need to unify those efforts. We need to integrate those efforts so that everything that we are doing is designed in our lives to positively impact others and enhance the human experience. If you happen to donate to nonprofit interests and you just donate money, perhaps you may consider donating your time, investing emotionally into what you're doing. That can help you with that process. Much, much deeper topic that I will get into in the future, but just consider some of these thoughts to help you to align and create a unified creative vision for your own life. Another thought that I constantly utilize and I'd like you to consider is how functional medicine has this approach where it helps you get to the root cause of your illness, your disease, or your inflammation that's built up in your body. I'd like you to consider that approach for your life. As the external chaos begins to accelerate in your life, perhaps it is showing you something that needs to be transformed or completely removed. And maybe this is giving you the opportunity to look a little deeper at what that topic or concept is so that you can do a deeper dive and find the root cause for that issue that is in your life. That, again, you are just burying. You're sweeping it under the rug. It's coming to your attention now for good reason. So please pay attention. The final perspective I'd like to share on today's FutureCast, and it's a question I get all the time. And I wouldn't be doing this FutureCast if my answer wasn't yes. And the question is, will all these changes and fluctuations that are taking place in the built environment today result in a better way of life in the years 2030 and beyond? I wholeheartedly believe the answer is a resounding yes. However, that is very much contingent upon whether or not you are doing the hard work to transform yourself to be a better fit for where we are going and evolving to in the years 2030 and beyond. I don't need to tell you that the world is changing rapidly. You see it almost every day now. And if you're panicking, most likely you're panicking because you feel your world that you've known for so many months, maybe years, possibly even decades, is evaporating right in front of your eyes. It's a very, very concerning feeling. If you are not doing the hard inner work to transform yourself for the years 2030 and beyond. And I can assure you, where you are feeling pain, where you see you are suffering, it's because you have resistance to change. Why not consider letting universal intelligence show you where you need to change and transform? Do not fight what the universe is showing you right now. Cheers to 2030 and beyond.